The text came in just as I set my coffee down. The cup clinked against the counter, echoing too loud in the quiet Saturday kitchen. Morning sun filtered through the blinds in thick slats, warming the tile floor beneath my feet. I was still half asleep, the metallic taste of cheap roast settling under my tongue as I glanced at my phone. Unknown number. No name. Just a message, you should know. Check these. Attached were 3 images. I tapped. The first showed a string of messages, my wife, Megan, chatting with someone saved only as Brandon98. The words blurred at first, then sharpened. God, remember prom night? Face with tears of joy, we really thought that hotel room was romantic. We could always make new memories, smirking face. My stomach dropped. I blinked, swiped to the next image. A hotel confirmation. Downtown. Thursday night. Megan's name at the top. 1 king bed. I didn't breathe. The third was a selfie. Her, hair loose, smile soft. Taken in a hotel mirror I didn't recognize. She wore the gold necklace I gave her last Christmas. No timestamp. No explanation. Just silence, and the low hum of traffic outside our window. I stared at the phone for a long time. I didn't know who sent it. I didn't know when the messages started. I didn't even know how I was supposed to move. But I knew exactly what I was looking at. Megan was still asleep upstairs. I could hear the faint creak of bed springs when she shifted, the gentle rhythm of her breath drifting down the hall. Our son, Ethan, was watching cartoons in the living room, still in his pajamas, feet tucked under a blanket. And me, I was standing barefoot in a kitchen I helped remodel, reading proof that the woman I'd trusted for 12 years had opened a door I never knew existed. I wanted to slam the phone down. I wanted to march up the stairs and demand the truth, wake her with a wave of shame and fury. But I didn't. Instead, I hit save all. Then forward. Sent the screenshots to my email. Created a folder and named it Megan_Brandon. Tucked it into a cloud drive. Then I deleted the thread from my phone, careful to remove it from recently deleted, too. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I made toast. Because Ethan would ask for breakfast soon. And I knew, whatever came next, I had to keep him safe. Calm. Steady. Megan came down 20 minutes later, rubbing her eyes. Hey, she said, voice still thick with sleep. You made coffee. I nodded. It's on the counter. She poured herself a cup, didn't notice the tremor in my hand as I buttered toast. Didn't see the folder burning like a silent flare in the back of my mind. She sipped, then smiled like she always did. Thanks, babe. Sure. I looked at her and saw 2 people, my wife, the woman I'd shared 1,000 mornings with. And the stranger in those messages, sending mirror selfies to an old classmate. 2 versions. One I'd loved without question. And one I now had to confront, piece by piece. But not yet. Because timing, like trust, had to be earned. Controlled. I walked into the living room and sat beside Ethan, placed the toast in his lap, and wrapped an arm around his shoulders. He leaned into me, warm and safe. Somewhere in another life, Megan was booking hotel rooms with someone who remembered what dress she wore to prom. And somewhere in this one, I was starting to remember who I needed to become next. I used to believe I could tell when something was wrong. That after 12 years with someone, you could feel the tension rise before it spilled over, like watching water climb the sides of a glass, knowing exactly when it would tip. But with Megan, it was quieter than that. Slower. Like a draft creeping in through a wall you thought was sealed. I didn't suspect anything at first. We were good. At least, I thought so. Our weekends were filled with pancakes and soccer games. We took turns putting Ethan to bed, always ending the night with an episode of whatever show we were too tired to finish. We had traditions, Friday takeout, Sunday puzzles, summer trips to the lake where she'd fall asleep in a folding chair, paperback pressed to her chest. But over the past few months, things had shifted. It started with her phone. She used to toss it on the counter when she got home from work. Lately, it stayed in her pocket or face down on the table. She said she was just decompressing when she scrolled for hours, and I wanted to believe her. People zone out. It happens. I told myself that. Until the laughter changed. I'd hear it sometimes, late at night, when I got up to check on Ethan or grab water. That soft, private kind of laugh, the kind she used to save for me. I'd find her curled on the couch with a glass of wine, smiling at the screen. I'd ask what was funny, and she'd wave it off. Just a meme. You wouldn't get it. Then came the name. Brandon. She mentioned him once in passing, some high school friend who'd found her on Facebook. Can you believe he still has that stupid yearbook photo up? She said, laughing. He looks exactly the same. I'd nodded, distracted. Didn't even ask his last name. The second time I heard it, it wasn't her voice that said it, it was Marissa's. We were at a neighborhood barbecue. Marissa, one of Megan's oldest friends, leaned toward me while the burgers sizzled and said, "So, Brandon from Spanish class is back, huh?" Megan's been glued to her phone like a teenager lately. I forced a chuckle. Yeah, I think they're catching up. She grinned. Maybe she'll convince him to join us for poker night. I said nothing, but my chest tightened. That night, after everyone left, I asked Megan how often she talked to Brandon. She shrugged, casual. He's just bored. Got divorced. He vents a lot. I asked if she thought that was appropriate, reconnecting with an ex-flame from high school. He wasn't a flame, she said, rolling her eyes. We kissed at graduation once. That was it. I let it go. But I didn't forget. A week later, she said she was going to a spa retreat with some co-workers. A place 2 hours north, one night, lots of mental reset activities. I nodded, told her to enjoy it, and made plans with Ethan, movie night, popcorn, a fort in the living room. She came back smelling different. Her eyes brighter, more alert. Like someone had pushed a button deep inside her. I checked our credit card statement the next morning. There was no spa charge. There was, however, a hotel booking in a mid-range downtown hotel, same chain as in the screenshot. Same city. Same weekend. I made a note of it. Then, when she went to the store, I opened her laptop. She'd left her Facebook tab open. Messages cleared. Inbox pristine. But the browser history told another story. Searches for old friends reconnection stories. Is emotional cheating? And a string of reviews for that hotel chain, one she'd never even mentioned liking before. That's when I started the spreadsheet. Just dates at first. Messages I remembered. Nights she stayed out late. Trips. I marked the weekend getaway. I checked Brandon's name on social media, his page was public. He'd posted a blurry city skyline photo with a caption, "New city. New memories." The timestamp matched her retreat. I didn't say anything that night. I made spaghetti, helped Ethan with his homework, and watched Megan hum to herself while she poured wine. Later, when she fell asleep with her phone resting on her chest, I carefully lifted it and checked her recent texts. She'd deleted the entire thread again. But her photo folder betrayed her. One selfie. Mirror. Hotel bathroom. Timestamped for the night she was at the spa. I saved it to the drive. I started sleeping lighter after that. Lighter, and less. I kept smiling. I took Ethan to school. I joked with Megan in the mornings, folded laundry with her at night. But inside, I was separating out a plan. Not for revenge. Not even for confrontation. For truth. And protection. I called Daniel, a longtime friend and tech guy who now ran a data recovery business. I told him I needed help, quiet help. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "Bring me the phone and a list of deleted things you want to find." I began building something, quietly, precisely. Just like the life we once built together. Only this time, I was doing it alone. By the time I handed Megan's phone to Daniel, I already had half the puzzle. He scanned it quickly. Android's a bit trickier than iPhone, but I'll get you everything she didn't want you to see. Even if it's been wiped from the deleted folder. Daniel smiled. Especially then. I left him with the phone and returned home. Megan thought it was getting repaired. She dropped it in the sink the week before, accidentally, she said. I didn't believe her. Not anymore. That evening, I sat in my car outside our house and opened a notepad. Legal priorities. Documentation of affair. Custody structure for Ethan. Financial disclosures. Pre-confrontation timeline. Attorney consultation. I'd never gone through anything like this before, but I'd managed projects at work 3 times this size. People think emotion is the enemy of reason, but for me, it was fuel. Pain sharpened my focus. Made me exact. I called a family law firm the next morning. Evelyn Tran was direct and highly recommended. She agreed to see me the same week. Her office was clean and bare, her eyes sharp behind frameless glasses. You're not the first person who's walked in here holding a folder instead of tears, she said, glancing at the drive I set on the table. I'm not here to collapse, I told her. I'm here to prepare. We went over everything, assets, house title, custody routines. She nodded as I outlined Ethan's weekly schedule, our shared checking account, and Megan's increasing absences. When she leaves, I said, she'll want to control the story. I need it airtight before she can rewrite anything. You're already ahead of 90% of people who come in here, Evelyn said. I can work with this. But we'll need hard confirmation, visual, written, or both. Daniel delivered it 2 days later. An envelope. Inside, dozens of text threads he'd recovered. Messages to Brandon, most of them flirty, many of them explicit. Descriptions of hotel room decor. Mentions of Ethan as an anchor she feels trapped by. A photo of her in a hotel bathrobe, with the caption, "You always see me better than he does." And the kicker, an e-receipt for flowers sent to Brandon's address, signed M. I scanned it all, copied it to Evelyn's secure portal, and burned the rest. After that, everything sped up. I installed a Ring camera at our front door, officially for package theft. I told Megan we'd been having security issues in the neighborhood. She nodded without much interest, barely looking up from her phone. I began tracking every time she left the house without explanation. I logged the rideshare receipts, timestamps from the front door camera, even synced her fitness tracker app, which she'd forgotten was connected to our shared account. One night, she claimed to be at a coworker's birthday dinner. Her GPS showed her at the Weller Suites off Interstate 5. Room 412. 2 hours. Then back home. I logged that, too. At night, I still made dinner. Still packed Ethan's lunch. Still kissed Megan on the cheek like nothing had changed. But every part of me was shifting, quietly, steadily. The hardest part wasn't the planning. It was the pretending. Sitting beside her on the couch while she scrolled past the very men she was burning our family down for. Hearing her say, "We should go to the mountains soon, just us," while I already had separation papers half-drafted. I started therapy, not for closure, but for clarity. Dr. Ahmed, a quiet, measured man, helped me reframe what I was doing. You're not just ending something, he said. You're constructing something new. Don't skip the foundation. So I didn't. I called Ethan's school, confirmed my name was listed first on emergency contacts. I made a detailed list of household responsibilities I handled. I asked a colleague, someone who saw me parenting firsthand, to write a character reference in case things turned contentious. Megan remained oblivious. Or maybe she wasn't. Maybe she just didn't care anymore. The final step was financial. Evelyn advised me to gather statements from the last 2 years, income, expenses, credit card logs, tax returns. We uncovered a second card Megan had opened, linked to a separate account. Not hidden, just, never mentioned. Most of it was mundane. But a few stood out, Hotel stays, dinners, gifts from online shops that never made it to our home. I took photos of each. Evelyn finalized the draft. The custody proposal gave me primary residence, with visitation every other weekend. We requested no alimony but proposed a child support structure based on her current salary. Property division leaned in my favor, justified by my documented contributions and the evidence of infidelity. The moment I saw her signature line left blank at the bottom, I realized, this was the true confrontation. Not the future shouting match. Not the guilt or the exit. This, the legal outline of a broken promise, was the real moment she lost me. My brother James came over that weekend. I hadn't told him the full story until then. "You serious?" he asked after I laid it out. "She's sleeping with some guy from high school." "Not anymore. They're having room service now." He snorted, then shook his head. "You're handling this like a machine." "No," I said. "Like a father." He clapped a hand on my shoulder. "Proud of you. Most guys would have set the house on fire. I'm keeping the house." We sat on the porch while Ethan played with chalk in the driveway. For a moment, things felt normal. But better, because this time, I wasn't in the dark. I was in control. The folder was ready. The lawyer had everything. The evidence was catalogued, time-stamped, filed. And the next time Megan said she needed a weekend to clear her head, I smiled. "Of course," I said. "Take all the time you need." Because I already had. I asked Megan to sit down after dinner. Ethan was at my brother's for the night, something I'd arranged a week ago. She didn't seem suspicious. She even poured herself a glass of wine, curling her legs beneath her on the couch like it was any other Wednesday. I sat across from her, folder in hand. On the coffee table between us, I placed a single framed photo, our wedding day. She looked radiant in it. I looked younger, simpler. I flipped the frame face down. She blinked. "What's going on?" I took a breath. "I know about Brandon." Her fingers tightened around her wineglass. "Excuse me." "I know about the messages. The hotel stays. The photos. The second credit card. I know everything, Megan." She stared at me, stunned. Then scoffed. "That's not what you think." "Don't lie," I said, quiet but firm. "Not now." I slid the folder across the table. She didn't open it at first. Just stared at it like it might burn her fingers. "I've been documenting for a while." I wasn't guessing. Her voice cracked. "You've been spying on me." "I've been protecting myself." "And Ethan." She opened the folder slowly. Her eyes flicked over the pages. Messages. Hotel invoices. GPS pings. A recovered photo from her phone, bathrobe, hotel mirror, time-stamped. "You went through my phone. You deleted it." I recovered it. Her mouth parted like she might yell, but she didn't. The fight wasn't there. Just fear. And maybe, somewhere in there, shame. I didn't yell. I didn't ask her why. I already knew why. Nostalgia. Fantasy. The rush of being seen by someone who only remembered the shiny parts of her. "I'm filing," I said. She looked up sharply. "You're ending this." "Just like that." "You ended it." "I'm just putting it in writing." She swallowed hard. "What about Ethan?" "I'm proposing joint legal custody. But I'll be primary parent. He stays here. This is his home." "I never meant." "I know," I said, cutting her off. "That's the point. You didn't mean to hurt anyone. You just didn't stop yourself." I turned the wedding photo back over. The glass caught the lamplight. For a second, we both stared at the version of us inside it, grinning, holding hands, utterly unaware. "I'm not trying to ruin you," I added. "I'm not interested in revenge. But I will protect what's left of this house. And him." And me. Her voice was barely a whisper. I didn't expect you to find out like this. I didn't expect to need to. The room fell quiet. Finally, she said, "You already have the paperwork." I nodded. Drafted. Reviewed. Evelyn Tran is representing me. You'll get a formal delivery by the end of the week. She stared at the floor, then the folder, then me. You don't even want to talk about this. About trying. I looked at her, and it was like staring at a reflection that didn't move with you anymore. No. I want clarity. I want peace. And I'm getting both, without you. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just nodded. Okay, she said. Okay. She got up, walked upstairs, and didn't come back down that night. I sat in the silence, staring at the framed photo. Then, I took it, pulled the backing off, removed the picture, and placed the empty frame back on the table. I liked the shape of it better that way. The divorce was finalized in early spring. It didn't drag. Megan didn't contest the terms. Maybe because she knew the evidence was airtight. Maybe because, by the time the papers hit her inbox, she'd already grieved the version of our life she walked away from. Or maybe she just wanted out. Either way, the result was clean. I kept the house. Ethan stayed with me during the school week, with weekends alternating. We agreed on child support without mediation. I didn't push for more than I needed. I just wanted structure, stability, and space. For the first time in months, I could breathe. I painted the bedroom. Nothing drastic, just a cooler, calmer shade. Ethan helped. We got paint on the baseboards and laughed about it. His laughter sounded different now. Clearer, like something had lifted. I boxed up old photos, leaving just a few on display. Not out of spite, but because the past had become too noisy to look at daily. The wedding frame sat empty for a week on the bookshelf. Then one night, after putting Ethan to bed, I slid in a new image, a photo he drew of us, holding hands under a tree, big crooked smiles. Just the two of us. It felt right. On a quiet Sunday morning, I sat at the kitchen table with coffee and opened the blog I'd started in secret weeks ago. I called it One Parent Forward. No details. No names. Just reflections. A place to process. A way to rebuild something solid, this time out of honesty, not illusion. The first entry, I didn't lose my family. I lost the person who abandoned it. The response was quiet at first. A few comments. Then a few more. People who'd been left behind. Who'd discovered betrayal in text threads and business trips. I wasn't alone. I wasn't broken. Just transitioning. I joined a local support group for single dads. Mostly quiet guys like me. We met in the back room of a church every other Thursday. No lectures. No dramatics. Just stories, shared like blueprints. I offered mine in pieces. I didn't react. I prepared, I told them once. I didn't torch the house, I rewired the foundation. They understood. Megan still came by for Ethan. She was polite, restrained. Sometimes tired, like the world she'd chased hadn't given her the peace she expected. I didn't ask questions. She didn't offer explanations. We were no longer adversaries. Just people who used to share a nameplate on a door that no longer existed. And that was fine. One afternoon, Ethan and I walked past a new art gallery in town. He pointed to a window display with mixed media frames, glass, wood, wire bent into unfamiliar shapes. None of those are even rectangles, he said, laughing. Not everything has to be perfect to hold something, I told him. He thought about that for a minute. Then nodded. We kept walking.